Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry that we're going virtual today. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy and safe and that everybody's doing okay. So we're actually going to be starting a unit on photosynthesis. And our first lesson is going to be on the structure of a leaf. So we're going to be talking about all the different parts of a leaf, their functions, how they help plants go through the process of photosynthesis, and how that helps plants stay alive and how that helps us stay alive. So this video is pre-recorded. Obviously, you guys are watching it at your own timely expense. So you're able to pause this video whenever you need to take a break, or you're able to rewind this video if you need something restated. And you're also able to rewatch this video after you watch it the first time. So I know this is super boring and it's really hard to sit in front of a screen and watch somebody talk, but this is only going to be 10 to 15 minutes long, and if you guys could just stick with me and pay attention, that would be great. So if you want, pause it right now. You can get up, you can stretch, you can get ready to learn. This really isn't going to take too long, but I do need you guys to pay attention because this lesson is the first lesson of the unit, and it's going to be the basis of everything that we do after. So let's get started. So our agenda today is pretty short because this is just a pre-recorded video. So I'm going to go through the lesson and then I'm going to discuss the assignment. If you guys have any questions while you watch this video, you're able to comment them underneath the video and then I can see them there. So the objective today is by the end of this video, you will be able to correctly draw or write the structure of a leaf. And I say draw or write because we have a diagram that we're going to be looking through, and that's going to help you guys remember the functions of all these structures. And then you're also going to have to look at all the vocabulary and all those names. So this lesson is going to be super vocabulary heavy, but I know you guys can do it. And I've got a couple of analogies to make it a little bit fun. So this is the diagram we're going to be using for this entire video. We're going to be flipping back and forth between slides and going through the vocabulary, what each of these things are, where they are, and what they do. So let's get started. The epidermis is what helps protect the leaf by aiding in preventing water loss and providing an extra layer between the outside and inside of a leaf. So let's go back at the diagram and let's look at where the epidermis is. So the epidermis is these green rectangles. You can see the upper epidermis labeled here, and then there's also a lower epidermis. So the analogy I will be using for today is grilled cheese. So when I think of a leaf, I think of grilled cheese. And I know that's super weird, but the epidermis in this is going to be the bread of the grilled cheese, if you can remember that. It's just that layer that keeps everything from the outside protected, or from the inside protected against the outside. So before we continue with any more of the vocabulary, I want you guys to stop and think back to when you were younger. What are the 3 things that a plant needs to survive or to perform photosynthesis? So you have a plant, you have seeds, you're trying to grow a flower or something. What do they need? So if you want to pause and keep thinking, you can, but I'm going to tell you. They need water, they need sunlight, and they need carbon dioxide, which is CO2, which will come in, and we're going to talk about those more when we get through this vocabulary. So let's go on to our next vocabulary word, and that is the stoma. So that is the opening in the underside of a leaf that allows carbon dioxide in and oxygen out. So let's look at our leaf structure. And the stoma is that little white space at the tippy top, and it says opening for gas exchange, which is exactly what it is. So in the photosynthesis process, leaves or plants take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, which is great because we take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide. So it's like one big cycle. So let's look at guard cells. Guard cells are specialized cells in the epidermis of plant that controls the opening and closing of the stoma, by responding to changes in water pressure. So if we look at the diagram, the guard cells are those green nubs surrounding the stoma, and those are what opens and closes the stoma to let gas out and gas in. So let's move on to the waxy cuticle. So the waxy cuticle in plants is a thick waxy layer on the exposed outer surfaces of cells that protects them against water loss and injury. So if we're thinking back to my grilled cheese analogy, the waxy cuticle is actually going to be the butter that you put on the bread before you cook it. So let's look back at the diagram, and you can see that the waxy cuticle is this greenish yellow color that's on top of the upper epidermis and then underneath the lower epidermis. So again, we have the butter, which is the waxy cuticle, then we have the bread, which is the epidermis, and now let's get into what's in the middle of everything. So the veins, or the vascular bundle, is a structure that provides support to plant leaves while also transporting water, nutrients, and energy to the rest of the plant. So we have veins in our body, as everybody knows, and those provide us with blood, with nutrients, with everything we need to survive. And the same is true for plants. You can see this on the diagram, that vascular bundle right there. And yeah, those are what brings nutrients to everything. Then let's go into the cheese part of this grilled cheese analogy. So the cheese part is going to be called the mesophyll. So the mesophyll is a specialized ground tissue that makes up the bulk of most leaves. It performs most of a plant's photosynthesis here. So let's look at the diagram here. You can see the mesophyll is that huge section to the left of that diagram. And then the mesophyll is broken into two separate different mesophylls, the palisade and the spongy. So let's look back at our vocabulary and find out which each of those does. So the spongy mesophyll its function is to allow for the interchange of gases, CO2, which is carbon dioxide like we discussed before, that are needed for photosynthesis. And then the palisade mesophyll is mainly responsible for producing food and oxygen for the plant throughout photosynthesis. So if it's getting kind of hard to differentiate between these two things, if you think spongy, CO2, and palisade, food and oxygen, you'll be able to differentiate between those two when it comes to the assignment. So let's look back at our diagram and let's just go through everything, the entire grilled cheese analogy that we have going on. So we have the stoma at the tippy top again. That's what releases oxygen and takes in carbon dioxide. So again, you can see on this diagram it says the opening for gas exchange. And then we have those guard cells, those things that surround the stoma that open and close it. And then we have our waxy cuticle, which is the butter that we put on the grilled cheese before we cook it. And that's the extra layer of protection that we have. And then we have the epidermis, the bread, the thing that holds all that ooey gooey cheese inside the grilled cheese sandwich. Then we have our mesophyll, and that's the cheese part of our grilled cheese analogy. And then don't forget the veins being a part of there too. I guess I didn't have a good grilled cheese analogy for the veins, but I don't know if you I like a little bit of salt in my grilled cheese, and so we can call that the veins. The veins are everything that bring energy, nutrients to the plant that it needs. Then again, we have our lower epidermis, our other slice of bread, and then the butter that goes underneath it, the waxy cuticle. So that's the entire diagram for leaf structure, and we blew through that in like 5 minutes. So let's talk about our assignment, but first I want to slide one quick thing in here. If you guys are still paying attention at this point in the video, I want you guys to comment an emoji pizza underneath here so I know that you guys were paying attention, because other students can't see what you comment. So if you guys are paying attention, comment a slice of pizza underneath this video. All right, so let's discuss the assignment we have for you guys. So we have an online diagram of the leaf structure practice for you guys to fill out. So if we go back to the diagram, it's actually going to be the exact same diagram that you're going to be filling out. All these green words up here that we talked about, those aren't going to be there, and you guys are going to have to fill them out. So because this video is a pre-recorded video and you guys have the ability to rewatch this video, you guys can use it for the diagram assignment. But I highly encourage you guys to try to use it, or try to do it without using the video. Try to remember it from the grilled cheese analogy, and maybe the pictures will help you too. And then we also have a crossword puzzle. This is not technically assigned for you guys, but there was a lot of vocabulary that we covered, and it would be good for you to practice. And crossword puzzles, I don't know if you guys like them, but I like them. They're a lot of fun. So again, if you get stuck during doing the crossword puzzle, you can always come back to this presentation, this video, and watch it. And I mean, I encourage you guys to watch it too as a review if you ever need to. I know learning online is, not the best, but these things can also be a great resource that we can use. So finally, I just want to leave you with one thought. I know you guys know a little bit about the photosynthesis process and we haven't gone into great detail, but I want you to think about what would happen if plants didn't get the water they needed, if plants didn't get the nutrients they needed, if they didn't get the carbon dioxide, what would happen to them? What would happen to us? It's kind of a cool topic to think about, and one that we're dealing with currently. It is Earth Day today. So, and then finally, if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment them under a video. If you're feeling like you completely understand this, I want you to comment a smiley face underneath the video. If you guys are kind of iffy about the subject, just comment a straight face and maybe a question or two if you had them. And if you guys are still super confused and you need me to go over it in a different way, send your questions in the comments and then just send like a sad face or an angry face. I hope you guys are doing okay and again, staying healthy and staying safe, and I'll see you guys again soon. Bye.